He's a master distiller, and you have to refer to him as that, the master distiller. His name is Brian Nation, his real name. And he is the Keeper's Heart master distiller. We imported him from Dublin. We spent a lot of time with him, and he can handle his whiskey.
Yes,
let's
he can.
put it that way.
Yes, he can.
Let's please welcome Brian Nation.
Let's go.
Yeah, there he is, the master distiller. Bring that microphone a little closer to you, Brian.
Perfect.
All right, so the master distiller. How long does it take to become a master distiller?
Long time. I've been involved in the whiskey industry for over 25 years now. And I became master distiller for the first time in 2013. And then did that for 7 years and then decided to up sticks and move to the beautiful state of Minnesota to make whiskey with Keeper's Heart.
Okay, but what happened earlier in your career to get to the point where, like, what whiskeys are you responsible for, or you had a hand in developing?
Yeah, well, I suppose I was very fortunate to be part of a team that developed, that worked with Jameson, Middleton Very Rare, the Spot range, Powers, and Method and Madness. So fantastic brands, great Irish whiskey brands, really fantastic pinnacle of Irish whiskey. So I was very fortunate to work with them for 23 years. And my whole career really started off as an accident. As I always say, it was the best accident that ever happened to me. My background was chemical and process engineering. And last place I would have thought I'd end up in was a distillery. Worked in a pharmaceutical plant, worked in an oil refinery. Didn't really enjoy them. They were grand, but it didn't kind of give me the excitement that I was looking for, really. And then I got an opportunity to go as an environmental engineer into a distillery in Middleton in Cork, and basically worked my way up and ultimately became master distiller for fantastic brands.
But I've seen grown men get emotional around you when they're around you.
Look, it's
like, how famous are you? And be honest now. I mean, in Dublin, how famous are you?
I suppose because of the brands, you'd be known by people that enjoy whiskey, yeah? So, I mean, when you see people that have a love of whiskey and particularly have a love of Irish whiskey, you're obviously going to be associated with that, so you would be known. I just do my job. I have great fun doing it. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah, but okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
I mean, I heard you were calling me Sir Master a while ago.
Yes, I was.
I mean,
I'm only going by what happened last night. Yeah, I said, Brian, and he goes, it's Sir Master Distiller. And I go, okay. Then who takes out the picture of Prince Albert from Monaco?
Oh, my God. We're going to go there.
Well, you told me how famous you were. Because I'm sitting next to Will Ferrell, and you go, you got any famous friends? I said, well, let me text Sandler. Sandler was getting his haircut, right? And I said, he's getting his haircut. I said, what do you have? And then you pull out the picture with you and Prince Albert from Monaco, correct? Yeah. He's a big whiskey guy.
He is a big whiskey guy. He has a
Could you call him right now?
No. And the reason I couldn't is I wouldn't expose him to this. Like, I mean, can you imagine how he'd feel?
He'd feel wanted. Like, we're the people.
Do you know what would happen is, I know what would happen. I'd make the call. He wouldn't answer. And you just destroy me even more.
Okay. Did you bring up Bono last night as well?
Never met him.
But was there something? I'm only going by what you told me last night. You were in your cups last night, and you started telling me that you knew all of these famous people, right?
Oh, my God.
You thought it was just a dinner, Brian.
I know, yeah. Like, I mean,
no. There was a dinner, then this is a roast, is what this
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah. It's great fun, though. I'm having a ball. I mean, I could never have thought 2 years ago that I'd be sitting here in Dublin on the Dan Patrick Show talking about whiskey and being with Keeper's Heart. So
okay,
it's just
but
been fantastic.
Explain to us. So let's say you're just getting into whiskey.
Yeah.
Tell people, like, this is what you need to do and not do.
Yeah, I think the first thing is don't be afraid of it, right? People have this impression that whiskey can only be drunk in a certain way. You know, you have to do certain different things with whiskey. The way I always tell people that want to try whiskey is try it the way, experiment with it. You don't always have to drink your whiskey neat. You don't always have to drink it on the rocks. You can drink it in a mixed drink. But the beauty about whiskey is that there are so many different types of whiskey out there. They really do cater for all different taste profiles. And the beauty about it is that whiskey is not just a shooting drink, right? When you sit down and you actually assess a whiskey, it takes you on, and it sounds so cliched, it takes you on a journey. It takes you on a journey of the process. The smells of the whiskey bring back memories of childhood, bring back memories of different things that happen in your life.
Yeah, but I wasn't drinking as a child, so you're saying childhood.
It still brings it back.
What? Is that happening in Dublin?
What it does is...
When did you have your first whiskey?
I had my first whiskey when I was 19.
Oh, okay.
Right? You see, you were trying to go there.
Well, you're the one that said my childhood.
But I had my first whiskey when I was 19, but I didn't ever really appreciate what went into making whiskey until I joined Irish Distillers.
Okay, we go into this whiskey bar that it's unbelievable. Priceless whiskey.
Fantastic.
And then you bring down a bottle, and it's got your name on it.
Yes,
right?
Somebody brought down a bottle that had my name in it.
Okay. I thought you said, would somebody bring down that bottle so I can show it to people?
Can I? Yeah.
How much did that bottle? How much that bottle go for?
That absolutely blew me away. It was $75,000 a bottle, or 75,000 euros. I forgot him back in Dublin. 75,000 euros a bottle, and 5,000 euros a shot.
Why?
It's all to do with the rarity. It's the style of the whiskey. There was only 117 bottles of that whiskey made at the time, back in 2014. So it obviously became a collector's item. And then it's supply and demand.
But originally, if I bought that, it would have cost me $150.
6,000 euros, that would have been.
Oh.
Because there was only 117 bottles.
Okay.
But it's supply and demand and great marketing as well.
But when you deliver, do you deliver a cask to Prince Albert in Monaco?
He's part of our Cask Society with Keeper's Heart. Yeah, he's a happy member of that.
How does he get his whiskey?
We'd send samples. Sometimes I've been over there. It's.
So what's it like at the Palace there in Monaco?
It's fantastic. It's an unbelievable experience. It's actually like sitting here.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Are you getting nervous talking about the prince?
Yeah. No, it's you make me nervous.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I kind of got into whiskey a little bit later on because I think it's intimidating for people because they're not quite like, what am I tasting?
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys who says, oh, I can taste garden hose, tennis ball, a shoe? Are you one of those guys?
Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. Our CEO, Mike Duggan, for Keeper's Heart, basically, when I taste Keeper's Heart Irish Plus American, I talk about, it reminds me of as a child going into a sweet shop in my hometown of Cork City. And it was a hard sweet shop, boiled sweets, and there was lots of different flavors. And I get that with the whiskey. And he's looking at me going, yeah, right. But that's when I talk about the memories it brings it back. But back to your point about whiskey and being intimidated by it and everything like that. You do hear that a lot. What I laugh at some people is they say, oh, Jesus, I could never drink a glass of whiskey. Oh, the last time I had whiskey, oh my God, I was sick, or I was this, I was that. It had nothing to do with the 25 pints they had before it. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of going, oh yeah, you're blaming it on that one glass of whiskey, and it was the other pints before it that caused the problem.
What is it called when you put the ginger in with the whiskey?
Oh, we call that a long drink. So we'll call it a Keeper's Heart and ginger with a wedge of lime and ice, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it was.
So refreshing.
Yeah, but we ran out of this whiskey last night at the bar.
By popular demand.
Yes, we did. Do you guys have a question for Sir Master Distiller Brian Nation, Paulie?
I guess, they say, I see sometimes people tasting wine and they swish it around in their mouth. If you're tasting and trying to judge a new whiskey you're trying, should you just drink it casually, or should you let it sit in your mouth and go from there?
Well, the first thing you do with a whiskey is you actually nose the whiskey, yeah? And the reason you're nosing the whiskey is you're trying to determine what flavors are you getting just on the nose. And then when you taste the whiskey, what I generally do when I taste the whiskey is I do leave it rest on my palate for a period of time. I don't swish it around. I think when you leave it rest on your palate, what you're getting is you're assessing the mouthfeel. Is it a creamy mouthfeel? Is it a syrupy mouthfeel? And different whiskies have different mouthfeels. And then as that happens, the flavors evolve as well on the palate and they coat your tongue. And then you begin to get, where's the flavor coming from? Is it just coming from the distillate? Is it coming from the wood? And whiskies are different. Every type of whiskey is different. And that's what makes it so exciting. That's why I love what I do. And you can see, I love what I do. And doing something like this as well it might be, Jesus, nerve-wracking for someone like me, but I still have a lot of fun.
Seton, you have a question?
Yeah, the Cask Society.
Yes.
Is that something you sign up for on the website, or is there a more rigorous screening process?
Well, for you, there could be a bit of a screening process.
Okay.
But
Okay.
no, you can sign up on the website. What we actually do there is, because we are creating whiskey history at Keeper's Heart, because we're actually making American whiskey in the Irish style of triple copper pot distillation. We're giving people the opportunity to be involved in owning a cask of the first 100 barrels of triple pot distilled rye, triple pot distilled bourbon, or triple pot distilled American single pot still. So effectively, you become part of the journey and you become part of the history. So it's not just about being involved with a cask or becoming a member that can take all of these bottles of whiskey at the end of the process. It's actually being involved in the journey and being involved in the history. And we love it. People that have joined it have really enjoyed the whole trip.
How many bottles do I get out of a cask?
If you hold it for about 4 years, about 240 bottles.
And then if I wait longer than that?
As whiskey waits longer in a barrel, it actually evaporates. So you get losses. So the number of bottles will drop down, but the flavors will change, the whiskey will evolve, and you'll have more of a wood-influenced whiskey the longer you leave it in the barrel.
Is there a chance if I left it in there like 100 years that there wouldn't be anything left? I would be buying a cask that didn't have any whiskey in it?
Well, if you left it there for 100 years and you're still buying that cask, fair juice to you, because you've lasted a long time.
Well, no, I'm passing it on to my family. When I say, hey, I'm leaving you this cask, and then there's no whiskey in there, Brian. I mean, Sir Master Distiller. Sir Master Distiller.
What it actually would do is you'd always lose. The problem is that the longer you leave it, and I'm talking if you leave it 50, 60 years, what could happen is the strength of the whiskey could actually drop below what is actually recognized as a true whiskey, which is below 40% or 80 proof.
The most expensive glass of whiskey that you've ever had, or most expensive bottle of whiskey, is what?
That I've ever tasted?
Yeah.
I tasted actually Silent Distillery Chapter 1, which was a release from Middleton Distillery back in, I think, 2020, I think. And that was, at the time, probably 37,000 euros a bottle. So the shot was, 2,000, 2,500. But it was beautiful.
I hope.
And I didn't pay for it, by the way.
You didn't mix that with anything, right?
Oh yeah, with a bit of Coke. I mean Coca-Cola, no lads, right?
Oh, Sir Master Distiller. Thank you again, Brian. Every time I've met you, you've had this spirit, but that's who you are. And you guys are great partners. We hope this continues for a long time. We hope to see you in Minneapolis. Thank you again for welcoming us into your family as well.
And thank you so much, guys. We are having a ball, and we are so proud to be the official whiskey sponsor of the Dan Patrick Show. So long may it continue.
He is, when you meet him, he's Sir Master Distiller. He is Brian Nation.